Yeah. Hello there. Good afternoon. It's Z Squared show with Zaid Shah and Zaid Ali on Iman One. Um, quick reading out. If you want to send some messages, 07440 and if you want to ring in and give us a little bit of your flavour, 01902 972 150. Interesting week, Zoid.
Interesting, yeah.
And you know where we're going to go first.
Go
Being a
on.
Liverpool fan and a Wolves fan, I shouldn't say this because I watched the game, and at the end, like, normally I'd be disappointed if Liverpool lose,
Mm.
but I wasn't disappointed. I just felt that Wolves wanted it more, and Liverpool looked like they were, on a training ground, just messing about, having a little. There was no intensity in the game. Oh, I think somebody's trying to knock my door. Uh,
Well, I did sort of send you a message prior to the game saying that I thought that Wolves would win 3-2. I mean, we've been on a very good run of form recently. We thrashed Arsenal 2-2 at home recently, and then we actually beat Aston Villa in a local derby as well. So we've been on a good run of form. Rob Edwards has started to get a tune out of these players, even though we lost quite a few high-profile players over the January transfer window and didn't really replace them. But he's like brought through a lot of young players. So Rodrigo Gomez has scored a couple of goals recently. 22-year-old, not really been getting much play prior to that, really. But he's like turned into a real super sub. And obviously, we've already had people like Matthias Mane and Tom Edozie shining recently.
how many games to go?
So, in terms of the league season, Wolves have got 8 games left. I think most people have sort of given up that we're going to be able to get out of the relegation places because
No
there's
chance.
a
Mathematically, chance.
mathematically there's a chance because 8 games we could get potentially 24 points, so we could end up with potentially something around 40 points if we win all of our games. And we have got some 6 pointers coming up against teams in and around the relegation zone like Leeds, West Ham, Spurs. So we could drag other teams into it, but I think we've left it too little too late, and I doubt whether we'll be able to get out of it now. There's a 12-point gap between us and Nottingham Forest, who are just outside the relegation zone, and that is quite a big distance to make up when you've only got 8 games left.
Yeah, he's Rob Edwards. He's been phenomenal, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was involved as part of Nuno's management team. He was coaching the youth team when Nuno was around. So he's been around at Wolverhampton for a while. He actually cut his teeth in coaching at Wolverhampton Wanderers before he went on to have a very good career with clubs such as Forest Green Rovers
Yeah,
and Luton. He got Luton promoted from the Championship
he
up to the
did.
Premier League as
He,
well.
he did. He did. And to be fair with you, I don't think Luton were kind, were they? Really?
Well, he did initially a very good job with Luton, getting them promoted from the Championship, then having a relatively good go at it in the Premier League. But then when they got relegated, he couldn't get a tune out of that squad of players. I think it really seemed to affect them psychologically. And they subsequently looked as though they were going to get relegated again, and they did subsequently get relegated to League One, although they sacked him before they actually eventuated.
So we talk about this tune, and getting tune out of players. What's happening with Salah? He can't seem. I mean, he did score, but I mean, he's not getting a tune. The slot's not getting a tune out of Salah, is he?
We've brought up this issue before, and it was interesting on Friday. Was it Friday? When did we play? On
Tuesday.
Tuesday, when Wolves played Liverpool. There was a tribute on the 18th minute to Diogo Jota. The Wolves fans held up lots of large banners to commemorate Diogo Jota. They did it on the 18th minute because Diogo Jota used to wear the number 18 shirt when he played for Wolves. And it was a nice moment. The whole stadium was standing up and applauding, even the Liverpool fans, because obviously they had a Jota in their squad at the time that when he so untimely passed away. And so there was that moment, and you've previously posited the idea that it has been the Diogo Jota effect, which has really had an impact on the Liverpool team, which won the league last year and have been a very sad shadow of that team this year, despite making several £100 million plus transfers in the form of Florian Wirtz and uh, Isaac and Hugo Ekitike.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, to be fair, TK, he's been okay. Verts is struggling. And Isaac, he wasn't. He was struggling as well, and he got
Mm,
injured. And I think the injury was actually a blessing in disguise because for him, because he was getting so much stick, it was phenomenal. I mean,
yeah,
he was getting stick every game,
really.
and the fans were really brutalising him. And I think he got injured at the right time for me.
I mean, when you buy a player for over £100 million, you do expect that they won't need much of a sort of ramp up curve in terms of getting acclimatized to the Premier League. He'd been quite successful in the Premier League at Newcastle United, and so people expected him to like hit the ground running. And it's been quite disappointing. And then he's had an injury affected season as well.
Yeah.
People were saying that Salah had really dropped off, although his goals and assist record since he's come back from the African nations have been pretty good. And I think both him and Hugo Ekitike are actually fasting this month. I don't know whether the fact that they're fasting has led to some drop off in performance.
I don't think you should because they're professional athletes, so
They are.
they'll know how to hydrate themselves and things like that. So you know, so it shouldn't be. But it's like, but we don't know because you and I aren't
Yeah.
playing at that level. But I will say one thing: the other day, Manchester City players opening fast after, was it 18 minutes or 11 minutes into the
After
game?
about 12 minutes into the game.
Now, let me ask you a question, Zaid. I mean, they 30 seconds. That's all they took.
No, 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 it was 1 to 2 minutes.
Was it 1 to 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, which is what VR takes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
around about that. Yeah, VAR
yeah.
sometimes takes
What
5, 10 minutes.
what were the fans booing for?
So I think Leeds United fans, they do have a reputation, unfortunately,
Of
for
being
having
racist.
that sort of element within their fan base of a racist hooligan element.
Yeah,
They used to be up there in terms of football hooligan firms. You think about Birmingham Zulu Warriors and the Millwall,
what about the
Wolf,
Subway Army
Wolverhampton Subway Army,
and
Chelsea Headhunters.
the West Ham? Do you remember what they were called?
I don't know, or the West Ham.
Intercity firm. Yeah, I know all my violence colleagues.
So Leeds used to have that
They were
reputation,
they were nasty, weren't they, Leeds?
and some of the fans were booing the Manchester City players who were opening or breaking their fast. Um, and there's been some comment around that since then. Pep Guardiola, the Manchester City manager, has said, look what's going on in the world. We should be more tolerant of people's differences and religion. So
He
they shouldn't
has.
have been booed. Daniel Farker has tried to deflect. Daniel Farker is the manager of Leeds United. Has tried to deflect from his own club fans' behaviour by saying they may have misconstrued the way that the break happened because they had not been alerted to it beforehand, and they might have thought that Liverpool were wasting. Why would Liverpool time waste after
Man City.
Man City time waste after just 12 minutes of the game? And so that's a bit.
What was the score at the end?
In the end, Manchester City won 1-0 with an assist by Ryan Aït-Nouri, former Wolverhampton Wanderers player.
I like the way you brought that in. Former Wolverhampton Wanderers player. Yeah, any other Wolverhampton Wanderers players that you want to talk about who've left Wolves and are doing well somewhere else?
Matthias Cunha is doing very well at
He,
Manchester
he is.
United.
Don't you think? I mean, I hate United. Yeah,
Mm.
I really shouldn't say that on radio, but I do. But they since Cunha's been there, they've just seemed to be revitalised, don't they?
I don't think it's just been him. I think they made some good signings in the form of Mbumo and Matthias Cunha, and then it's really been a case of Michael Carrick coming in and taking over from Amarin and just changing the atmosphere around
The
the squad.
dynamics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's changed the formation, style of play, or just had a impact on the psychology of the players.
So you just said the formation, because there's a lot of people out there who probably thinking, what's he talking about? When we say formation, what are we talking about when we say formation?
So, I mean, ultimately, there's 11 players kicking a ball around on a pitch, and you have to form those players into some sort of structure to tackle and act in a defensive manner and an offensive manner against the opposition. And the most normal formation in football tends to be 4-4-2. It's quite a
Yes, is that four defenders, four in the middle, and then two up front,
yeah.
and then the goalkeeper. Yeah,
That's it,
obviously.
yeah.
So, okay. So, what about Wolves? What kind of formation
Wolves
do they
are
play?
currently adopting more of a defensive-minded formation because obviously we've had a problem conceding goals. So we
Yeah.
tend to play more of a 5-4-1 or a 5-3-2 type formation. So we pack the defence, pack the midfield with more defensive-minded midfielders.
Well, how do you do that then? Because you've just said 5-3-2. So that means you've got five defenders, three in midfield. So you're not really packing, are you?
Well, it depends. So you can have the formation as a literal 5-3-2, but then when you actually set up on the pitch, you can choose whether they are in a narrow 5-3-2 or a wide, expansive 5-3-2. And Wolves tend to play in a more compact 5-3-2 with a low block.
Why do they do that then?
Basically, the idea is, say, a team like Liverpool have very fast, speedy forwards. You don't want them to put a ball over the top or a ball through the
Okay.
gaps and them to run onto it. So you basically play a low block. You play a very defensive formation around your own penalty area.
So from what you're saying, professional football has really evolved, hasn't it? Because look at what you're just saying. You're saying that they're playing a low block, so you got somebody like Salah who can run 100 miles per hour. If the ball's hit over the top, he's going to beat people for pace quite easily, isn't he? So if you're blocking quite deep, you're actually trying to stop that from happening, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean it's quite a turnaround from when Wolves were in their heyday in the 1950s and 1960s. We actually used to play a 2-3-5, so you'd play two central defenders, three in midfield, and then five inside forwards, wingers. So it'd be very more of an attacking formation.
When was that in like 1825?
1950s.
I was gonna.
You might just about remember it.
I might do.
And the firm at the time.
And the firm, yeah, Subway Army. Tell you what, I saw a few fights with the Subway Army down the
1970s was their
I tell
heyday,
you,
wasn't it?
I tell you, the subway that goes to the university from the ground. Yeah, they'd meet there and have a nice little punch up there. And the police would watch, and then when all the injured one would get arrested.
Well, the Wolves fans still sing a little ditty about those days. Do you know how it goes?
Go on then.
Once upon a time, there was a tavern where we used to raise a glass or two, or three or four. There we used to while away the hours, thinking of the way things used to be. Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd fight and never lose. We are the Wolves. Oh, yes, we are the Wolves. It's something like that.
I tell you what, that's
butchered it. Oh, X Factor. Next X Factor will be
tell
on
you
there.
what, Simon Cowell's just texting me. He said, "Who's this guy with the wonderful voice?" That's phenomenal. You're obviously somebody who's keen on the stands, aren't you?
I've misspent youth on the terraces at Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Do you know what? Even though I'm a Liverpool fan, do you know I've spent a lot of time on the South Bank?
Oh, really?
Yes, a lot of time. So what we used to do was, do you remember in the day when we were youngsters, you could go around the back and just with about 10, 15 minutes to go,
Yeah, I remember that.
they let you in, didn't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, yeah.
So we used to go there. So I have watched Wolves. You're not going to believe this. I've watched Wolves in every division.
Wow.
Do you know that? So do you remember Wolves went down to the fourth division?
In the old fourth division, yeah, now
They
known as
did.
Division Two.
They really struggled, and we used to go every home game. Me and my mates, yeah. So we watched Wolves, and I think I watched every team in the league come to Wolverhampton Wanderers back in the day. Can you
That would have
believe
been
that?
during the Steve Bull heyday.
Yeah, yeah, Bully, when Bully came back in, and he basically took the club back into the Division One, which is now the Championship. I don't remember. I don't remember Bully playing in the Prem. Did he? He didn't.
No, we never made it
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
Premier
yeah.
League
But he
with
was
him.
he was a striker that was very loyal to Wolves, because there was a lot of Premier Division clubs at the time who wanted Bully, and
Yeah,
he didn't go.
it was incredible. He actually represented England whilst he was a Division Three player, what's known as League One now. So yeah, because he scored. I had a couple of seasons where he scored 50 goals a season for Wolves. It's incredible.
Bully was phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
you see him driving around in that nice black car, with Bully as a registration. Yeah, he was brilliant. And I'll tell you what. Let's talk a little bit about. Oh my God! India have just smashed 253 for 7 of 20 overs. There is no chance that England are going to get that, are they? You know what? I think I'm going to say something very controversial today. I think a few of those England bowlers are playing for an IPL contract. I really do.
Or even 100 contracts now, because a lot of the 100 franchises are owned by IPL teams.
Have you heard what they've said?
Yeah, I've heard they're going to exclude
Pakistani players.
apparently.
Yeah. Don't you think that's a bit shocking?
In this day and age, it does seem really not really playing the game. I mean, cricket's always had this sort of emphasis on the gentleman's game, and it's not something that you want.
It seems
the
to be. It
gentleman's
seems
game.
to be the Indian man's game at the moment. They seem to be running everything. Like the BCCI seem to be controlling cricket.
Well, they're very powerful economically, aren't they? And unfortunately, economics runs the world.
It does.
So,
But I'd like to know where all this money's coming from, though. And I don't want to say this on radio because I don't want to be a target. But yeah, it's not. It'd be interesting to find out where all this money comes into the IPL and who's.
I don't know what you're trying to suggest. Is it from big tobacco, big gambling?
Probably a little bit worse than that. Probably a little bit worse than that. But
Okay.
but I don't think that is shocking. 253. I think some IPL contracts are being played for. Bowling some rubbish at the Indian
What they
players.
call it, buffet bowling.
Yeah, because England have not bowled that badly in years, so that's a bit shocking, isn't it?
Yeah,
So let's see if England turn this around and win this game, which I don't think they will. I think I'll be surprised if they get 100 now. With the way Bumrah's bowling, so it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, it is what it is.
Okay, and so in yesterday's semi-final, who went through? New Zealand against South Africa. New Zealand
Oh,
went through with
well-
Finn Allen scoring 100 off just 33 balls.
Well, I watched that. It was a phenomenal innings, and again, South Africa. A message out to South African coaches. This is Sonny Shah. I'm Zaid Shah on Z squared, but as a cricket coach, I'm Sonny. If you wanted to stop choking, give me a bell and I'll come down and I'll do some mental work with your players so they can win a bloody semi final for a change. I watched that, and yesterday 170, and New Zealand absolutely leathered it, and they won it in about 17 overs. And he got what was his name? He got 30.
Finn Allen.
Finn Allen scored 100 of 33, and what a pleasant 100 it was, because he smashed Jansen, which is one of the best T20 bowlers in world cricket, for about 20 odd, didn't he, in that last over? I think it was about 3 sixes and a 4, and got his 100, and they won the game quite comfortably, didn't they?
You've got some very talented players in both teams. But I think,
Yeah,
New
do.
Zealand especially have got some very talented fast bowlers. I grew up in the Richard Hadley era. So I remember New Zealand always having these very talented fast bowlers, and yeah,
Phenomenal player, Richard Dudley.
they've still got them now to
He
this
was a
day.
magnificent all rounder, and I think he was one of the, you know, him. My favourite player from New Zealand is, my claim to fame is when I was playing some pro cricket out in Pakistan. I remember turning up to a net in Rawalpindi, and have you heard of the great Martin Crowe?
Yes.
So Martin Crowe and Deepak Patel were in the nets, and Deepak Patel was bowling some rubbish off spin at Martin Crowe. He was just bowling straight balls, and I've turned up and I've started bowling some off spin, and he started turning, and he started laughing. He was thinking, "Who's this kid?"
Yeah.
You know, I was about 18, right, and I bowled at Martin Crowe, and
Wow.
it was phenomenal. Honestly,
He was one of the, like, I think he was regularly in the top like batting rankings in the world because he was like such a phenomenal batsman.
he was
Martin Crowe.
he was a phenomenal batsman, and I'll tell you something else. He when Wasim and Waka were at their peak, New Zealand toured Pakistan, and Martin Crowe. I remember watching that, and Crowe scored 300s on the trot
Wow.
against that phenomenal attack, and he was a phenomenal player. But him and Richard Hadley, they really set some real good role models
Yeah,
for
fantastic.
the New Zealand team now.
Let me ask you a question,
Go on.
Zahid, and check your general knowledge skills. Which cricketer used to be called Afghanistan?
Which
That was his nickname.
he was called Afghanistan. Oh God!
Okay, I'm going to narrow it down for you. He was an Australian cricketer, pretty much, I'd say, legendary. Okay, we can't have a silence on,
Okay.
on the
Is it,
radio. So, talk us through your thinking process. Ask
Okay,
me questions.
so I'm thinking, when was it? 70s or 80s?
This was 90s, noughties.
90s, noughties. Okay.
Think about why you might be called Afghanistan, an Australian cricketer. All right,
Afghanistan.
I'm going to put you out your misery because we've got very limited time, haven't we?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so you might remember there used to be two Australian brothers,
Mark One, Steve Waugh.
Mark Waugh and Steve Waugh, and they used to say that Afghanistan was the forgotten war, and so they used to call the less successful of the Waugh
Steve Waugh.
brothers.
Steve.
The less successful of the Waugh brothers was Mark. So Steve, the captain of Australia, he used to say, "They call my brother Afghanistan because he's the forgotten war."
Okay. I didn't know that, you know. It's something I've learned today. We've got about a minute, 30 seconds left. No, a minute left. And after we come back, we want to talk a little bit about Dajjal.
Dajjal, we'll talk
and
about racism, we'll talk about
racism,
politics.
Politics, and we'll talk about blimey, what are they called? Potholes. We hate potholes. They are
Yeah.
damaging our cars, right? So we need to talk about those. But we've got 30 seconds to go. Listen, guys, it'd be nice for somebody to call in and get involved with the conversation. Any text message. I think I might have had some text messages on my phone, but I'll check those.
Don't read out any abuse.
We can't read out any abuse. Oh, it's the missus. Oh, God. Can you get some milk on the way home?
Okay.
Oh, well, there you are. Hello, hello, missus, and hello, my daughter-in-law, Fizza. Hope you're having a good time, and we'll be back in when we back? Oh.
6 minutes. I think people know the drill by now.
I don't think it is. Oh, yeah, 6 minutes. Oh, yeah.
Cool. Fantastic.
253.
That is crazy.
That is shocking, honestly.
I
It's,
want to ask you.
Hello. Hello there. It's Z Squared, Zaid Shah, and Zaid Ali. We're back on WhatsApp 07440 and if you want to call in and give us a bit of hassle, 01902 972 150. We went just before we went. We were just upset about England's bowlers getting smashed, but we've just come back and we're going to touch on. We want to talk about Dajjal. We want to talk about potholes, and we want to talk about Ramadan as well. Right? Is that what it is? What we will do is we've had some interesting news by one of our people here. Is helping us with our show today. Is it Raj?
That's me.
Yeah, Raj is helping us today. Raj has just said that Wolverhampton City Council, the voluntary person on the council, has said that they have put £14 million aside for this next financial year to fix the potholes in Wolverhampton.
So that's 13.9 million for their expenses and 0.1 million actually parts and labour.
Yeah, it's I think that well, I'm glad because if that's happening, because it's phenomenal news because the roads in Wolverhampton, they're shocking. They really are.
I think it's a nationwide
It's
problem.
nationwide.
Everyone
Yeah, it
talks
is.
about potholes,
It
don't
is
they?
nation. Mate, listen. I went to Birmingham a couple of days ago, and there was a flood in one of the roads I went to.
Wow.
It was a flood, and the rubbish. It's so far up. Rats.
Yeah.
They're walking around like with an attitude. Like they're walking around with an attitude.
Like they own the place.
Yeah, like they own the place. And honestly, I'm sure I saw rats selling on the corners. I'm sure there was a few of them selling stuff.
Right.
This is how bad it is. It's really bad. Honestly, it's shocking. But I'm glad. I'm sorry. That was a bit of rant and rave on. But the reason why I mentioned the potholes was and the flood is because of the flood. Floods don't help roads.
No. Do you think why is the flooding? Is it because of the council haven't been like cleaning the drains properly, or
It looks
it's
like it.
global warming?
I don't think it's global warming. I think it's there's that much rubbish stashed up now on every road. I mean, black bins on top of black bins. It's so bad that the odor is gone because it's that bad.
Wow.
It's so bad, honestly. They've been out that long that there's no odor to these bags. Can you believe that? It's shocking because odor comes
Well,
when
maybe
it's,
you've just got used to it, or people have got used to it.
maybe people have got used to it, but it's shocking, isn't it? Where do we live?
Well, it's increasingly, according to some people, like a third world country. Import the
we-
third world, get the third world.
Are we in the third world? Because it looks like it.
Anyway, that is a slogan from the far right, and on that point,
Go for it.
I'd like to alert people that there is going to be apparently a protest by members of the far right, groups such as Patriotic Alternative and Homeland, against the asylum hotel in Wolverhampton. The Britannia Hotel, which hosts some asylum seekers, mainly women, families, children, that sort of thing. But
Who are these asylum seekers? What's happening? Are these the ones who come on the boats?
so yes, they're characterised as being small boat sort of asylum seekers, but most of the people in Wolverhampton, they are families, women and children, rather than unaccompanied men, which tends to be the sort of stereotype which is portrayed by the far right. But there's going to be a protest by the far right on Saturday, the 7th of March, and there's going to be a counter protest by anti-racist groups such as Stand Up to Racism, a group called Wolverhampton Together, and they're going to be meeting up at 11 a.m. outside the Britannia Hotel. So
What time?
So if people are free,
Sorry, what day? Sorry.
so Saturday, 7th of March, if people
Yeah.
are free and they want to make a stand against, racists, and stand with and on the side of these asylum seekers who've, come from, very far afield, fleeing war or famine or whatever. They've, had to come to this country for whatever reason, and they're being put up in the hotel at the Britannia Hotel. And we want to show some solidarity with them. So 11 a.m. on Saturday.
I'll
7th
do
March.
I'll do my best to come down, and I will do my best.
And I should say, most of the people who I've seen at previous protests outside these hotels in Wolverhampton, they've not been from Wolverhampton. I've not recognised them. They've not been wearing Wolverhampton tops like I have. They're like coming from far afield, like Stourbridge or even further afield, some of these people. And they're also accompanied by these people called auditors. Have you come across these people?
No, who are they?
So these people are like, they're almost like they call themselves almost citizen journalists. They basically film contentious things happening and then put it on their YouTube channel, and they make money by basically causing sometimes hassle. And
So these troublemakers. They're not from Wolverhampton, are they?
a lot of them are from outside
Okay.
Wolverhampton. Yeah.
Now the thing is, I'm a little bit confused that they've got issues with the boats.
Mm.
So let me just give you a bit of a history lesson on the boats.
Okay.
Yeah. Before Brexit, BR exit, I voted for BR exit. Right. Well, I'm not asking you which way you voted, but I voted. The reason why I did that was because I was told that they were going to keep the money in the UK.
We're going to take control of our money, laws, and borders.
Okay. What happened was, when they did that, France or the border countries, UK, the channel, stopped all this, stopped working and stopping these boat guys going over.
All right. Okay.
That's what's happened. So we are to blame ourselves for voting for Brexit, because if we'd stayed in Europe, if you look back, none of these were coming over back in the day when we were part of Europe. And what has changed for? Let me give you an example.
I feel like it's a confected outrage, to be honest, because we've always had immigration into this country. Our own parents and grandparents were immigrants to this country, and they had problems even when they were coming in legally as economic migrants to this country. They were invited in.
So can I ask you a question now? Why do you think our fathers were invited to this country?
Because after the Second World War,
Okay.
there'd been a significant loss of life amongst the economically active part of the working population. A lot of people
Okay,
had
can I-
died.
can
They
I s-
needed
can I
people
stop you there?
to man their industries after the Second World War.
Okay, can I stop you there? I've done some research on this, right? So if there's any people listening to this, these guys didn't even go to war. They're that lazy. They couldn't even be bothered. The reason there was none of this happened. I'm telling you, the war. If you look at the Second World War, you look at majority of people who were in that Second World War from places like Pakistan, India. My grandfather was in there. From the African states, fighting. The English hardly. None of these guys went. There may be the odd few here and there.
Don't think you can
I'm
say that.
telling-
There are
I'm-
war memorials in this
yeah,
city with
it's-
the names of the actual
There may
people
be
who passed away.
maybe the odd few, right? Majority of these guys didn't go. The reason why our fathers were called into this country was because these guys don't like working. They're lazy, right? The problem we've got now is they want people. Oh,
We can't make like generalized stereotypical statements of all people.
No,
you
no,
can
I'm-
say like some people,
So,
but you can't say the whole.
Well, the thing is, look, okay. So the situation is this, right? Immigration. Look, we want everybody out. I've been on social media listening to TikTok and other social media platforms, and they're saying we want everybody out. That's okay. You want everybody out. We go. Who's going to do the work here? Doctors, dentists, pharmacists. I can carry on, can't I? Teachers,
Engineers, yeah.
engineers. Who's
Healthcare workers.
healthcare worker?
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. If I've upset anybody, you've got a phone there. You can ring in and have a
People
say.
are thinking, like, why is Alf Garnett on the radio?
Well, it's no, no. Look, the thing is, I think people need to do their research. Because we keep on being told that a lot of the guys were killed in the Second World War. Do your
Mm,
research. You'd be
yeah.
shocked.
It's interesting that Nigel Farage, his family are from an immigrant background because
Oh, okay.
they were French Huguenots, which is basically a sort of Protestant sect.
Isn't that like the Windsors? They're not from here either, are they?
They've got German heritage, but yes, Nigel Farage, this great British patriot, his family were French Huguenots, so they were immigrants into this country. And it's interesting that there was this by-election this week in Gorton and Denton in Manchester, and everybody was saying, "Oh, Reform are going to win with their candidate Matthew Goodwin," and they ended up losing. And
They got hammered, didn't they?
it was, yeah, the Green Party got over 40% of the vote, and the Labour Party ended up in third place. So that's quite a nice, hopeful sign that people have voted for hope rather than hate in that election.
Well, the thing is, I think just another question. Tommy Robinson, isn't he immigrant family?
He's got Irish heritage.
Okay, so there you are. I mean, all the ones who are kicking off seem to be immigrants as well. So it doesn't make any sense, does it?
Well, some of the more high-profile figures within both Reform and the Tommy Robinson party, some of them are, brown faces in, high places. So you've got Zia Yusuf, is it, who's chairman of Reform Party. You've got other figures similar.
Did I tell you I went to a reform?
Suella Braverman as well now.
Do you know I went to a reform meeting in Wolverhampton?
Oh, go on. Tell us about this. You went because you're a big fan of Reform, or because you just went to observe?
No, I went because I thought, are these guys going to make a difference? Because I'm hearing stuff. Councillor Celia Hibbett invited me. I went down, and as soon as I walked in, there was a few faces looking at me thinking, oh my God, what's
Were
he
you one
doing
of the
here?
only people of colour in the meeting?
No, you're going to have a shock. This is why I'm telling you this.
Really?
There was a number of Afro-Caribbeans there. And at the end of the, from a Jamaican background, right? And, and a couple who were mixed race. And I spoke to them. I said, what are you guys doing here? Right? I said, I've come here because I wanted to find out what kind of rubbish is being talked about at these meetings, right? What are you doing? And he goes, we want our country back. And I said, okay, all right, good luck to you then. And I just walked out. I was really shocked, with what I saw. And Celia Hibbett, she made a spectacle of herself, yeah, in that meeting. Yeah, she wasn't very professional at all. And that's all I can say, If Celia Hibbett wants to phone in,
yeah, whenever
and
we
defend
mention
herself,
anyone in particular,
yeah.
you are welcome to ring in and
Well,
you have a
Council-
right to reply.
Councillor Hibbett can ring in and explain why she was making inappropriate comments about the South Asian community. So, I'd be quite, the listeners would like to hear that.
I mean, I'd like to come back to my favourite quote of the month, which is from Eleanor Roosevelt, but has been repeated by Denzel Washington recently, which is, small minds talk about people, mediocre minds talk about events, great minds talk about ideas. So rather than
Absolutely.
focus on individuals, let's talk about some of the ideas at play. So reform as a ideology. I mean, a lot of people do want reform in politics because they're dissatisfied with, we've had 14 years of the Tory party who delivered us a Brexit of sorts, and then getting control of our money, laws and borders didn't seem to create any sort of economic miracle. It didn't seem to change the net migration figures much. Then we've had a Labour Party in power, and they've not brought about any significant change to people's, economic well-being. So everyone can say reform, but what actual positive ideology are they intending to, bring about to change the direction of our economy and society? And one of the things I liked about the Green Party campaign in this recent by-election and their real national resurgence in the polls. I think one poll put them as second nationally to Reform at 24% and Green Party at 21%. They have some sort of like a positive manifesto for change. They're talking about how we can put people and planet before profit. And that would be a significant change of ideology from the current establishment parties who tend, I would say, tend to put profit over people.
Just a quick one. Umbala store in Warsaw has just opened up the new store, and as part of the opening, they will be giving away a large number of free food and iftari boxes. And we'd really love to involve the local community and ensure that this reaches those who would benefit most. So basically, please, if you're in around the area and you want to go to support the new Umbala store in Warsaw, please do so. There's free food and iftari boxes. Thank you. Coming back to what you were saying, for me, I'm a controversial politician. I always have been. Right. That's why, I don't float everybody's boat. Yeah. Immigration for me, there needs to be control on immigration. Even I'm saying that. Yeah. But you've got to have a standardized process on how you can do it. Now, I'll give you an example. I worked in care in the West Midlands, in the past, right? And my sister owns a care company, right? And I've seen, most of her carers, they're coming from abroad and they work here, right? And they're doing the care. I don't see any of the locals, from, when I say locals, when I say South Asians are doing the work, I don't see anybody else apart from South Asians and the Afro-Caribbeans doing the care work. Yeah. Are you telling me that in Birmingham, I know it's an ethnic majority. It's about 51% of the population is, no, it's ethnic, and 49 is Caucasian. Am I right or wrong?
You're wrong.
I
think in the last census, the Muslim population was about 20% in Birmingham.
Yeah.
The total ethnic minority, black and minority ethnic, was, I think, 30 to 40%. So they're not, it's not 50-50 or anything like that.
So 30-40%. So there's, let's say, 60-40. So 60 are local, so, Caucasian, and 40% is your BME. But when I look at workers who are on the front line, like your soldiers, they are coming from the BME community. Yeah? So this is my experience of care. And I'm not just talking about Birmingham, I'm talking about Wolverhampton, I'm talking about Walsall, I'm talking about Telford. It's all BME community member carers who are out there on the front line doing this day in, day out. Even on the Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, they're out there busting a gut, to keep this country afloat and above water. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, enough of that. Dhanjal.
Oh yeah, we said we'd talk about Dhanjal because it was actually trending on Twitter this week, and
it has been actually. I was gonna watch a TikTok series on it. Yeah, go on. What do you want to say about Dhanjal?
So I've always tended to I don't like getting involved in these sort of like end time prophecy sort of things, but you've actually got our leaders in terms of Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, his Secretary of War, actually talking about end time prophecies as part of their raison d'etre for, or their casus belli for going to war with Iran. They're like talking about how they want to build the third temple in Jerusalem and these sort of things, which is it's quite worrying that people who have this sort of ideology are in power in the United States. And there's actually been a big fracturing of the MAGA right-wing coalition in the United States. So I don't know whether you know of a politician called Marjorie Taylor Greene. But she did a tweet this week and she goes, I won't include the expletives, but she goes, we're in another bleep, war, and American troops are being killed. We need to have a serious conversation about what the beep is happening to this country. And she came out with some statistics here. 72% of Americans can't afford health insurance. 58% of Americans can't afford car insurance. 67% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 31% of Americans can't afford their back taxes. 50% of Americans are in credit card debt. And the country as a whole has $40 trillion of debt. So there's this fracturing in the right wing coalition. And so, in that context, when Dajjal is trending on Twitter, we go back to a hadith. It's quite a famous hadith. But I just
Can you just hold on to the hadith,
Okay.
please? Zaid's upset here. Salam Z Squared, great show as always. Top presenters and always a good listen. Quick one, what are your predictions for Friday's Wolves match at Haifa? Go on.
I'm not Mystic Meg. So,
So Zaid just said he's not Mystic Meg, but who they're playing?
it's Wolves versus Liverpool. I think because Wolves just beat Liverpool, Liverpool might be more sort of
Is it FA Cup?
anxious to get their own back. So I think it might be a reversal of the scoreline earlier this
Where's
week.
the game?
It's at Molineux.
Yeah, I think it'll be 3-0 Liverpool this time.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Hadith, carry on.
Anyway, so it is narrated. I'm just going to do some of the headlines because it's
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
a
go.
long. It's quite a long hadith actually. So people
Give
should
us a synopsis of it.
look here up. But we were sitting with the Prophet, peace be upon him, when a man came to him whose clothes were intensely white and whose hair was intensely black. No signs of travel could be seen upon him, and none of us recognized him. Anyway, he asked the Prophet a number of questions. He said, "O Muhammad, what is Islam?" We've got 2 minutes left. That wasn't part of the hadith. He said, "O Muhammad, what is Islam?" And the Prophet
I thought you
explained.
wrote your own hadith there, mate.
The Prophet replied, what Islam is: zakat, fasting in Ramadan, establishing regular prayer, making the Hajj, etc. And the man answered, "You have spoken the truth." And the Sahaba commented, "We were amazed by him. He asked the question, then told him he had spoken the truth." And then he asked the Prophet, "What is Iman?" And again the Prophet replied. And again the Sahaba's response was, "We were amazed that he'd asked this question." And then the Prophet replied, and he was told, "You have spoken the truth." And then he asked, "When will the hour be?" And he was told, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The one who is being asked about it does not know more than the one who is asking." Then this man asked, "Then what are its signs?" And the Prophet replied, "When the slave woman gives birth to her mistress, and when you see barefoot, destitute shepherds competing in constructing tall buildings." And then the hadith goes on to say, the narrator of this hadith later saw the Prophet, and the Prophet asked him, "Do you know who that man was?" And this man replied, "Allah and his messenger know best." He said, "That was Jibreel." So basically, this is a very well-known hadith. It's a Sahih hadith, and it's so accurate in terms of predicting the end
Absolutely.
times.
It's fascinating, and I think what it is we've got 30 seconds left. Is that going to be the end of the show?
We've got the end times of the show.
We've got the end times of this show. And I tell you what, I hope everybody's enjoyed that, because I thoroughly enjoy working with Zaid. Great show today, Zaid. So, as they used to say with the Ronnies,
Goodbye from him.
yeah. And it's good night from me. And it's good night from him. I hope everybody's enjoyed. Keep us in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, excellent.